Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, I'm still taking it a little bit easy at the moment, but I'm feeling an awful lot better and I'm in the mood for splashing a bit of paint and stuff around today. And I want to make some little cards to put my Stitchery swaps inside. So I thought I'm going to make a whole lot all at once and cut them all up afterwards. So I thought you might like to kind of watch my process. It will probably take me a couple of hours, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'll show you some clips and speed through a bit and stuff and sort of explain what I'm doing in my usual haphazard fashion. If you don't like waffle and haphazard, you're probably watching the wrong channel. I've just used some washi tape to mark off rough. I haven't measured it out or anything, I've just kind of roughly done rectangles. You can see it's a bit wonky here. Some are a bit bigger than others. That's not going to matter because they're not going to be all seen together in the end anyway. And I'm just going to start off at this stage, most of the way through, I'm going to be working on this as one whole piece. And then towards the end, I'll start to add focal points to each little piece. That's my plan at the moment anyway. Let's see where it goes. Probably the orientation will end up this way up as well. But again, I'm not completely sure. So I'm going to be really chilled about this and just enjoy the process, and at this stage not think too much about where it's going. But I do need to be a little bit mindful of things like using media that are water reactive, because then when I put layers on top, I'm going to move the layers underneath, which might be fine, but I just need to bear it in mind. On the other hand, I may completely forget, and you know, I'm just having fun. I'm just playing, and I just thought it might be quite fun to record it. The very first thing I'm going to do, just to take away this fear of getting started, is just scribble. So I've got a 14B Faber-Castell Faber-Castell Pitt Graphite Matte pencil. I love these, and I love this 14B. It's so sort of gives you such a dense colour and no shine off it like you usually get, or very little shine off it like you usually get with graphite. So I'm just going to scribble over the whole thing. I'm not going to think of individual squares at this point, rectangles. There you go, and that's taken all of the fear of it away now. I've ruined it already, so nothing. It can't get any worse. I've got a kind of a colour scheme in my head. Some of my favourite colours. A later layer, not very much later, we'll be using these tissue pages and things, and this kind of sums up my my colour scheme. So I think the next thing I'm going to try, this is our Scrawler box from 2 months ago. This is Scrawler box number 93. I've also thrown in a couple more Ecoline brush pens because we had the Ecoline duo tip pens. And also my friend Zoe Heartist here on YouTube, Zoe Heartist, check her out if you haven't already. She's got an amazing channel. She sent me a box of Arty Farty goodies, and it included this brush X, which I've never tried, and apparently it works really nicely with these pens. So I want to have a play with that. They are, I believe, they will move with water even once they're dry. So future layers may disturb what I do at this stage, but hey ho, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to see what happens. So I love these colours. These are duo tip, so I've got a chisel that side, and is it chisel and bullet the other side? Yeah. So I'm just going to scribble again at this stage. Oh look, and it's now the juiciness of this pen is moving the graphite bit. And a lot of this stage will just be covered up later on, so it's really not worth stressing about too much. The great thing about this kind of process, because you know you're going to build up layer upon layer upon layer, you just really don't care what you do. You are just playing and seeing how the supplies will work and stuff. I'm not thinking about where the marks are going. I'm trying not to think at all at this stage about the individual rectangles. I'm just having fun. I'm going to try getting some of this brush X out. Oops. Oh look, it does come with its own little brush, I forgot that. Let's try just doing this. I believe you have to just leave it to settle for a few seconds or a couple of minutes. Let's just try. I'm sure it was these pens that Zoe said it would work on. See, let's leave them to just sit for a minute and see what they do. An old cloth with me so that I can dab it up as well. Ooh. I'm not using that brush X right, perhaps I'm not leaving it long enough. It can take a few seconds until the colour is completely erased. It can be overpainted after drying. Intense colours require a second deletion process. Ah, perhaps it's because it's so intense. Oh look, it's completely taken it out there. That's interesting. This is such a good way to explore the products and just see what you can do with them. And I know it looks like a complete hot mess at the moment, but trust the process. So I could go in again and erase even more of this, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to leave it at that because I quite like that. Effect. I'm far too lazy and impatient to wait for this to completely dry, but that's probably what I should do really. Well, I'll just give it a few seconds to dry while I show you what I'm going to collage with. So I have got, again from that parcel that Zoe sent me, she put all of these tissue circles in, and I loved them, so I gathered them all up and put them in this bag because I thought that'd be lovely to use for collage. Really nice. I love layering tissue onto collage and applying it with I'm going to use this Liquitex matte gel, but any of those, or Mod Podge or any of those kind of things. I like a matte finish because the tissue kind of just melts away into the paper and it overlaps with each other and creates lovely colours where they overlap. I just love doing that. So I've got some other bits of tissue. This is decoupage tissue, which is sort of a bit more robust and got a sort of shiny finish. And most of these are packaging that I've saved. I think was that a parcel from Jackie the other day. That kind of thinking, excellent, that's because I already had the pink, the yellow and the blue and I wanted the green. So it's perfect. So I'm going to use them and just collage some little scraps on, and then that'll be the next layer. And then in a future layer, this was Kerry sent me these beautiful collage papers. I feel a bit precious about them, but they are meant to be used as collage papers and they will be beautiful for that. And look how the colours go with my colour scheme. So if I take this as my random colour scheme, they just go so beautifully. So this will be in a later layer. I shall tear or cut these. It's on this lovely feeling kind of cardi paper. I've also saved a napkin from our tea party yesterday and some book print. This is just a handful of stuff I grabbed out of my collage drawer. I always save these. And this was from my failed attempt at like a marble pour thing. I ended up lifting prints off with it and I photocopied it and printed this off. So I thought I might use a bit of that. But those are all for later stages. So I'll put that to one side a minute. This is still feeling slightly damp, but I think it's okay. And I've completely scribbled on that now, so I'm not feeling the least bit precious about it. I've also got to use possibly later on these pit pens I've had for ages. These are a dual tip situation as well, so you've got kind of it's a fine liner, but it's a fat fine liner on one end, like a sort of brush tip on the other. I've had these for ages and they're still really juicy. And with pit pens, once they're dry, they're not, because they're like they're an ink. Is it India ink or India ink? They don't move once they're dry. Water, nothing will move them. Well, alcohol might move them, but water won't move them. So unless you're really fast, if you're really fast, you can move these with water. So I might use a bit of them as well. In fact, I could scribble a bit with them now, and then these will move with future layers, and these won't. Shall I do that? Ooh, shall we do a bit of that? I haven't got any orange there at the moment, and I do need orange in there to fill my also got in that that same number 93 box from school, or I've kept the Copic multi-liner. So this is pigment ink. It's pigment ink and it's water and Copic proof. Okay, so a little bit of collage now, and I will probably find as I put the matte medium on, I'm imagining these are going to move, but we'll see. I've got my manky old ruined brush, poor thing. I like to put a bit of water on it first, whether I'm using acrylic paints or glue or whatever. I just think it helps protect the brush a little bit. I'm going to just tear little bits of tissue and just put, you know, say 2 or 3 pieces of tissue on each of. I'm now starting to look at the rectangles a little bit. I just want to try and make sure I've got a little bit on each one of them. So tear a few pieces. In this case, I don't really want the collage papers going outside of the tape too much, because they'll pull up when I remove the tape. So you see how lovely it's gone on, like really transparently. I love that. I'm just going to quickly whiz, really quickly, speed is of the essence. I'm just going to whiz through and stick a little bit of this pink on each section. I think that's the way I'm going to go. Try it with this as well, just to see which I think is easier. This is where we find out if this is going to completely move with the matte medium. No, it's not actually. That's interesting. It means that it's like a really good way to get to know these supplies, you know. Yeah. I just love how the tissue becomes semi-transparent as you just realised, nearly accidentally sticking a little bit of thread there. It's made me think. I've got my little pot of all my tiny wisps of fabric and ends of thread, and I'm just thinking I could incorporate some of them in later stages as well. Right, that's my that's where I'm at the moment. Now I'm going to put this to one side to dry while I start getting my collage pieces ready. And then once this is dry, I'm going to do a little bit of pen work on this, pen and maybe small brush work to add some little marks and things. I might get my paint pens out. I've also got these lovely fluid acrylics from the school box a little while ago. So these are the De La Rowney System 3 fluid acrylics, and these are the golden fluid paints, which I'm more used to. But I have to say, when I come to replace these, which they're all running a bit low now, I think I'm going to go to this, because I just think they compare really well and they seem quite a bit cheaper. So we'll see. But anyway, so yeah, I think it'd be nice. I'm going to start wanting contrast now. I've got all this lovely colour. I'm going to want a bit of black and a bit of white. These napkins, I just want the top layer. So I'm just going to get my fingers a little bit, stick in the glue stick. I find that helps. And then just go like this, and it just helps me to separate the layers. I'll put this to one side to use as a kind of a rag while I'm painting, and then I could just use this in the same way as I just did the tissue. Just maybe add some little bits of flowers here and there. I like using these just for a bit of texture. I might keep with the thing of just adding a little bit of everything to every rectangle. But I'm going to be using circles. So I've got, to add some details later with paint, I've got some circular just bits of rubbish that I've collected, which you can see I've used them quite a lot, just for adding little circular elements to pieces. And I also quite like using corrugated card like this, just to apply paint or ink and press down to get some marks. So I will do that in a minute as well. But now comes the bit I've not been looking forward to, because I need to I need to cut these up to use them for collage, and they're just so beautiful. But this is what Kerry intended them for. It quite hurts a bit. It quite hurts a bit to do this. I think what I'm going to do is cut circles. Paper usually tears one way easier than the other, doesn't it? I'm just wondering. Okay, let's just do it. Come on. I love the terry edges like that as well. So I'm going to cut a whole lot of kind of circular. Well, that's not circular. That's eggish, isn't it? Let's try that again. You only have to be vaguely circular. It doesn't matter. And I won't waste this, but I'll use all of these. I'll use all three pieces of that. So I'm going to go through, create myself some lovely collage shapes out of all these papers. Tear some of these bits up ready, or cut them up ready as well. And then I'll come back and show you the next stage. Okay, so I've narrowed things down a bit. I've cut myself probably more than enough circle shapes, so I'll use the circle shapes and the bits I've cut out. But before that, I'm just going to go in and add some paints now. I've got these pens ready. I might want to use them. I think I'm going to start with white. So I'm just going to speed through that and play you a bit of music, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so I'm going to start layering up these collaged pieces now on each of the squares, and I'm now starting to be a little bit more mindful about, I keep saying squares, I mean rectangles, about them as individual rectangles, just to make sure there's a focal point on each one. And then I think I'll do the tape peel, and then I'll be adding some final doodling and mark making. I still feel like I need a bit more dark on here. I need more contrast. I've got all the colour I want, but I want more punch to it. So I'll come back and show you when I'm ready with the tape peel. Right, I've finished collaging all my pieces, and I gave a coat of matte medium and went off and left it all to thoroughly dry. So I've got some sort of wrinkly bits like there, you can see a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that. That's nice added texture. And now I'm just going to intensify the colour here and there, and I'm going to use these distress crayons to do that, because I can kind of rub them in, water activate them, and just generally get messy with them, which is like what I love to do. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the tape peel. The final step will be a bit of doodling with perhaps paint pens and my black Copic marker, maybe black Pitt pens. I might bring my coloured Pitt pens in. I haven't got many colours. Right, so I'm gonna just have a bit of fun, just adding extra pops of colour here and there, and then I'm gonna do the tape reveal. So I'm just gonna put this on fast forward now, and I'll see you in a minute. Well, that wasn't the most perfect tape peel ever, but you can still see what I mean about you can now see these are separate little pieces, and it's gone from being that kind of mess that it was earlier on to being little, you know, once you see them as separate little pieces, suddenly they look way better. I think I will be able to sort these bits out by a bit of judicious Pritt sticking and trimming. So I will come back in the morning, do some last little bits of mark making with my paint pens and my black, perhaps my Copic marker and a black Pitt pen, and I will probably just cut out a few little words. Yeah, I'm quite happy with them. I think they'll work just as a little kind of thank you card kind of thing. It's really satisfying, it's really relaxing to do. I've learned a bit about my my supplies along the way, which is always a good thing. Leave this here overnight to fester, and I'll be back in the morning. It's the next day and I'm on the home stretch now. Excuse me for the wobble. I've decided I don't need to do massive amounts more to this. I've got that black Copic multi-liner which should go at the top of these all right, I think. If not, I'll have to grab a paint pen. I've got a Uniball Signo broad white pen, and I've got a little selection of Pintle acrylic paint pens. So I just picked the colours. I've been using anyway, and these two are metallics. I've got a gold and a pink kind of metallic. So I'm just going to do some little dotting and things like that. Not an awful lot now, and then I'll be cutting these up, adding a word to them and mounting them onto a card, but I'm not going to finish the cards in this video because I want them to be a surprise for the people who get them. So I'm going to go quiet again now and just do a bit of doodling. Like I say, I don't feel like I need an awful lot really. I wonder if to just initial these. So it's like a little mini artwork. I'll do it on this one because it won't show too much. Yeah, kind of looks alright, I suppose. There we go. I think I'm going to call that done for now, and as I say, I will tidy them up, finish them off and turn them into little cards to send my swaps off in. So I'm going to leave it there so that it'll be a bit of a surprise for the recipients. So hopefully I'll be getting my swaps off in the next couple of weeks, but we have got, the deadline is actually the 31st of August, and we left it open-ended for the art swap actually, so there isn't really any rush. The whole point is to try and enjoy this, have a bit of fun and share that fun with our swapsters. So I hope you're all enjoying making your swaps and receiving your swaps, and it's just been such an amazing adventure so far. That's it for me today. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching that. Maybe got some ideas. Have a play, enjoy yourself. That's the whole point. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.